जय 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 हो जय 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 फिर से शहरों में रौनक आएगी, फिर से गाँव में लौटेगी हंसी, फिर से साथ सारे यार होंगे, ना होगी पाबंदी, ना रोके कोई, फिर से सड़कों पे सब नाचेंगे, पटरी पे पहिए भागेंगे, बीतेंगे खेलों के मैदान, बांटेंगे हम खुशियाँ, हम मिलकर बांटेंगे, फिर से होगी सपनों की उड़ान, जो साथ देते सारा इंडिया, मुस्कुराएगा इंडिया, जीत जाएगा इंडिया, जो साथ दे सारा इंडिया, मुस्कुराएगा 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 इंडिया, जीत जाएगा इंडिया, मुस्कुराएगा इंडिया।
Good evening, parents. Wish us a good evening in your chat box. This is how the Zoom app and webinar would work. You have two boxes that you can see. In the chat window, you can address all the technical difficulties that you are facing, or if you want to put forward your point, please put your questions in the question answer box only. So let us start with today's session. Every child has innate infinite potential in him or her. It is just about exploring this potential, giving the child the right and enough number of opportunities. We have with us today our speaker, Dr. Munira Dattani. She is a physical therapist with a specialty in neuropediatrics and is the co-founder of Tickle Right, which is a right brain development program for children. Tickle Right has proven to be an ideal platform for molding little children, and it has left indelible impressions on over 1,000 children. She has been constantly evolving the curriculum, and she is a very active team member who researches and designs innovative ways of learning. With Dr. Munira's expertise, let's take this webinar ahead. We welcome you, Dr. Munira.
Thank you so much, Sneha. I hope all the parents are ready. And I'm so glad to be a part of this Jumpstart webinar. And thank you for the lovely introduction. Let's get straight to the point. Now, if any one of y'all know me, or if y'all say that, hey, what describes Miss Munira the best? So there's one thing that you'll get. They'll tell you that she has this undying conviction in one fact, that all babies are geniuses. That's something that me and my husband truly believe, and that's why we started Tickle Right Education. Now, I'm sure a lot of times you guys must have heard that, yes, kids do have undying potential, but how to really tap that? So I'm going to share a few tips and tricks as to what it is that you can do, and then we'll delve a little further into your child's first step towards early education. And Sneha, if there are any questions in the way that parents are asking me, please stop me and then we can take it from there. Is that okay? Sneha, are you there, darling?
Yes, that sounds perfect. What we will do is let them listen to your expertise, talk,
Yes,
and
certainly.
after that they can put all the questions in the question answer box, and I'll direct them
That
to you.
would be perfect. That would be perfect. Okay, so let's start. If you want to tap the potential of your child, I'm sure you guys are here for the seminar, so you're already great parents, always looking for little tips and tricks as to how you can help your child, you know, further themselves. Okay, so let's start with the first tip, which is appreciate your kids. And by appreciate your kids, I don't just mean like saying that, hey, good job, you did this, or, good, that's good, very good. No, guys, I mean appreciate them with all your heart. The first time they bake a cookie or they learn how to ride a bicycle, I want like huge applauses and be like, wow, you did that. That's crazy. And I want this sort of enthusiasm from everybody, from mums and dads and their entire family. You'll see every time when kids do something new, they always come back to the parents and they're like, Ma, did you see that? Or Dada, did you see that? I did that. Now imagine if they are coming to you with so much enthusiasm and you go like, yeah, 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 good. Or imagine when you go like, wow, that was amazing. How did you do it? I'm so proud of you. When you do that, you know what you're doing? You're subconsciously wiring your child to think that, yes, I can do it. You're nurturing a positive sense of self. That is so, so important. Once you start doing that, your child starts to become confident. And the next time a challenge presents itself in front of him, he'll be like, I can do it. I know, because mom and dad have always said that, yes, my child, you can do it. I'm so proud of you. So that kids know they're meant to feel very secure that, okay, that I'm sure I can do it. And even if I fail, so what? Mom and dad and my family are always going to back me up. So very, very important. Appreciate your kids. We really don't do it enough. Sometimes the kids come up with simple things and we're like, I know you can do that. But guys, instead of saying that next time, I want you to go like, yes, you did it. I'm so proud of you. Okay, let's move on to my next tip, fostering emotional intelligence. Now, kids deal with emotions very differently. They have different coping mechanisms. Sometimes when things really overwhelm them, they lash out and then we get mad at them. Guys, we need to understand, where are these emotions coming from? So please sit your kids down and talk to them. Try to understand, where are these good emotions, bad emotions, everything coming from. A lot of times we as parents, we focus a lot on IQ. I want to build my child's IQ, but guys, that's not enough. For the youngest kids, EQ, the emotional quotient, is so much more important than IQ. Everybody throughout their life is going to impart some or the other sort of knowledge. But EQ, kids who have a very sound EQ, they will always go further on in life. I'll give you an example. There was a particular journal, medical journal I was reading, and they found out that kids who have better self control being a part of emotional quotient, they found out that kids who had better self control did well at school, had better scores on their tests, and also in the long run they said that they had a better socioeconomic status, means they made even more money, to put it in simpler terms. So you can only imagine that EQ is very, very fundamental for them. So please take care of your child's emotions, what your child is trying to say. Please understand them. Keep having these conversations with them. Just sometimes when they get mad and a little irritable, don't get mad back at them. Yeah, it's rarely serving any purpose. Okay, now let's move on to the next one. Also, one more very important part of EQ is empathy. We always, even at Tickle Right, we always want the kids to be very, very empathetic. We are always encouraging them to feel very deeply for themselves, for their friends, for their animals, for their surroundings. And it comes, empathy will come. It's very much like monkey see, monkey do. The more they see you guys being empathetic in life, they are going to start showing signs of empathy as well. Kids are, very empathetic in nature, even otherwise, but the more they see at home, the more it becomes a lifelong skill. And you want that. It's going to take them a long way. Next thing is, expect great things from your kids, but don't put them on a pedestal. What do you mean by this? I'll just give you an example. A lot of times parents tell me that, Miss, my child is too young. I don't think that my child can do it. Maybe I'll try a couple of years later, something like chess. My child is 3 years old. Nah, I don't think ready for chess. Or swimming, 1.5. I don't think ready for that. So let me wait a year or two, and then we'll take it, because my child is too young. The parents have made this decision. Guys, why are we making these decisions for a child's capabilities? First, at least let them try. It will amaze you. Let me tell you something from scientific point of view. Why we started the right brain classes as well. Almost all of the brain development is done under the age group of 6, and your child's mind is particularly sharp under the age group of 3. Yes, so imagine they're actually the smartest, they have the most potential under the age group of 3. But we are wired to think with our conventional methodologies that no, my child is too young, I should wait it out, this looks difficult. Please don't make these decisions. Things that look very difficult for us, yes, they are hard now, because our brain is a degenerating brain. Your child's brain is like an absorbent sponge. The more you give, the more it's going to take, isn't it? So please don't decide for your child's capabilities. Please, please, dear kids, I'll give you all with dear parents, I'll give you all with an example. I have this one parent in class. I was teaching the kids all about flags. I was presenting them with 10 flags, 20 flags, and the child was very young, almost 17 months. And the parent was like, Mon, she's not responding to the flags. I don't really think she understands. So I said, hold on. Even if she doesn't respond, it doesn't matter. It's going in her brain. She's absorbing it. Let her say it. Let her keep observing. And she said, okay, she didn't look convinced, but because I said it, she took my word. And then we continued some classes. And a few classes later, one of the evenings, she calls me and she almost has tears in her eyes. And she tells me that, Mun, I am amazed. I put up all these flags in the house. And, I thought that why not ask my child today that, does she really recognize any of those? And she said she was amazed. She asked her child over 50 flags, and the little one could identify one after the other after the other. And she said, I don't know why I thought, my child couldn't do it, just because she wasn't very vocal yet. She thought that, my child can't do it. That's rarely the case. Kids, when they're younger, of course, their vocal abilities are not so strong, but their brain is very, very sharp. And the parent experience it firsthand. And I'm sure a lot of times we experience it as well. We think our kids cannot do something, and then they go ahead and they shock us, and we're like, wow, my child was actually capable of this, huh? Who knew? So, guys, please give them that opportunity. Also, it's called the process of learning. When I say that, don't put them on a pedestal. Of course, somewhere they'll make a mistake. That's why it's called the process of learning, isn't it? Sometimes they're going to do something naughty or something horrible. You may have to reprimand them, but do so positively. And also, while you're doing this, I want you to figure out what is the style of learning. That is very, very important. While you're teaching them all this, that yeah, you can do anything, your capabilities, but when you're judging them or you're trying to test their capabilities, you can actually further their capabilities if you find out their style of learning. Some kids are visual learners, they learn everything through pictures and videos. Some kids are auditory learners, they love their music, pick up things beautifully. Some kids are tactile learners, they like to touch and feel everything. Yes, young kids, the youngest babies, they're very oral seeking. Yeah, they like to put everything in their mouth and touch and feel it and smell it. That's good. So you need to figure out that what is your child's actual style of learning, and then start incorporating a little bit of everything else. Okay, now let's move on to my next point: encourage patience and decision making. What do I mean by this? A lot of times I see that my kids are very instant gratification seeking. What I mean is that when I say that, when they ask that, mommy, I want a chocolate, and the mommy's like, yeah, I'll give it to you in a while, they'll be like, no, mommy, I want it now, give it to me now. And then they really lash out, or it can overwhelm them if you don't directly answer them or give them the chocolate at that particular moment. Guys, that's not going to work. We need to teach our kids the art of delay, how to gracefully handle delay. Very, very important to encourage patience. And how you can encourage patience? By putting your kids in situations where they need to be patient. For example, your child goes like, Ma, can we please bake some cookies? Yes, why, of course we can. You bake some cookies, and as soon as they're out of the oven, your child wants to go like, I want to eat them now. But give them that opportunity to be patient. Tell them, no, not right now, son. After dinner, we gotta wait. They will throw a tantrum for a lot of situations. I'm just giving you one example. Try putting your kids in situations where they're forced to be patient. Yeah, you're teaching them. Every time you're hardwiring I see a lot we want our kids to be independent. Let them make their own decisions, at least a few. Start with a few, see how they're coping, and then, oh, just a moment. I hope I'm clear. Okay. So, where was I? I was like, let them make their own decisions. It's very, very important. Little by little, their weaknesses. Banging, is it clear to you, love? Can you hear me, Sneha?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, so there is no lag. Okay, so let me continue. Yes, so we were at the thing that let your kids be independent, but a lot of times my kids are very, very intelligent. They're like, oh, mama or dada is letting me make the decision, and they'll be like, ma, I want to eat a chocolate chip cookie every night. So, guys, that time be a mom or dad. Tell them no, not going to happen. Good nutrition is very, very crucial to fueling your brain. Yeah, tell them no. Be mom and dad. Sorry, no junk food every single day. That's not going to work. Once in a while is fine. Okay, let's move on to my last and final one. The last one is accept your child for who they are. What I mean by this, as parents, a lot of times we want kids to be a lot of things. We want them to be smart. We want them to be extrovert. Are not the same. The same way our kids are not the same. It's okay for you to want
Dear participants, I think there's some network connection on her end, Dr. Munira's end. She'll be back in 2 minutes. Till then, you can put your questions in the chat box. Sorry, the question answer box. We already have one question by a parent, Pranay. You can start putting your questions in the question answer box. Hi, Munira. We lost you in between.
Just a moment. I'm on mute for some
Yeah,
reason.
we can hear you, Dr. Munira.
Okay. So shall we go on from the last point? I'm very sorry. There seemed to be a lag from my Wi-Fi and I'm back again. Are we ready now? We move on to the last point, yes, which was accept your child. So now, guys, did you get the last part, Sneha? Could you fill me in? So I'll start again from the point initially. Where was it that you guys lost me?
We lost you at the last point itself.
Which was acceptance of your child?
Correct.
Okay, so let's talk about acceptance of our child. As I was saying, that as parents, it is absolutely okay for us to want our kids to be very, very happy and energetic, extroverted, disciplined, polite, everything, everything, everything. But guys, in that process, please don't forget that you cannot change the innate personality of the child. Yes, you can, of course, help them come out of certain problems or difficulties that they have, but you cannot just change their personalities, because if you do so, you are giving out a message to them that we're not okay with your personality, we think somewhere it is flawed. And then subconsciously the child starts to think again that, oh, I'm not good enough, confidence tanks. So positive sense of self, the first thing when I said appreciate your child that you were trying to build, it goes for a toss. So please don't say that, oh, I don't like that you're like this, you're so quiet, you don't talk, why don't you talk outside? Don't do that. Instead, use more positive words that, my love, I'd appreciate if you had more conversations with them. Why don't we go outside and, try to pick up this singing class or poem class together? If the kids have stage fear, try like that. If their personality is innately a little introverted, that would work fantastic. Yes. Okay, so now that is it about what are these tips and tricks. And now I'm going to go ahead with what are these little things that you can start with your kids from 0 months, from the time they're born up till their age group of 6. So, Sneha, are there any questions at the moment, or shall we go ahead with all the pointers as to what my parents can start with?
There are 5 questions.
Yes,
So should we go ahead with the questions?
most certainly, most certainly. And then we'll pick up the new topic.
So one of our parents, Pranay, has this question to ask.
Yes.
How do we identify the learning style of children?
Okay. So, my dear parents, nobody can gauge this better than you guys. As parents, you guys are the best teachers out there for them. So the more time you're spending with your kids, you'll realize that what are they naturally inclined towards? That do they like to touch and feel more things? Are they always digging up, in the gardens and finding things, feeling them, smelling them? Then they're more like that tactile learners. Or are your kids more hooked to big pictures? Do they like looking at videos all the time? Are they coloring and painting a lot? Then it's very likely that your kids are learning a lot through visuals. Also, music. If your child is just obsessed with music, I was an audio learner that I would keep listening to different and different kind of music, keep singing to myself different songs. I can pick up new information very quickly as well through audio, and very early on I realized that as well. Even kids realize it. So they'll be like, mama, I want to learn this, but can we find a song on this? They themselves will tell you. So look out for these cues. Also, it's not always that, oh, your child may only have one style of learning. These are kids, they're not robotic that there's only A or B. A lot of times your kids will like, they may be audio and visual learners, they may be visual and tactile learners. So find out. Mostly when you're giving them a very multisensorial learning, that's when the real magic happens. So it's okay to find out, and keep looking for these cues to find out what kind of learner is my child. But please take care that you're incorporating other styles of learning. You don't want there to be like a lag of one particular sense. Try to be as multifaceted as possible. I hope that helps.
Thank you. I think, Pranay, you've got your answer. Our next question is from Meera.
Yes.
She says, how do I handle tantrums positively if the child has been asked to wait or forced to wait?
Okay. So, Mira, that's very normal. Don't worry. As I said, that kids are very instant gratification seeking. And a lot of times, what happens is, since a young age, if the kids have always been getting their things, whatever they want, immediately, then they formed a pattern that the brain has been wired that, okay, I'm going to get whatever I want very, very easily. So now you have to break that pattern. And you have to break that pattern sometimes by firmly saying no to your child. Also, sometimes know where the tantrums are coming from. Were there no tantrums at all? If there were no tantrums and this is something which has newly
Till the time Dr. Munira joins us, we have Pranay who has asked us another question. And his question is, how do you handle tantrums, rude behavior, and how do you explain it to children? So depending upon the age, there are different ways by which we can explain this thing to a child. Usually, this 7 course of disciplining techniques usually works. The first thing that you can do for your child is distract the child from this behavior. You always have to remember that any kind of disciplining behavior or a child not behaving appropriately is for attention. So every child does this just to get your attention. Good attention, bad attention eventually is attention. So the first thing that you can do as part of disciplining is use distraction, which means if the child is talking rudely to you or the child is not listening to what you're doing, distract the child to some other activity. Sometimes children end up hitting other children for no reason. The best way to do that is distract the child to a completely different activity, which means the child can actually start drawing. With this, we channelize their energy to some other behavior. And this technique works with younger children, say from 2 years to 4 years. Other thing that you can do is redirect the behavior of the child, which means if the child is hitting the other child, you say that hitting the child is wrong, but hitting on a drum or object is all okay. So basically, you are redirecting the behavior, saying that the action is not wrong. The object on which the action is performed is wrong. So this is redirection. This is the second technique of disciplining behavior. The third thing that you can probably do is tell the child about logical consequence. Murina, till the time you joined back, I took one question and started answering that. Okay. Probably
yes.
We will continue with your talk, and Pranay, I'll get back to you with the rest 5 steps of disciplining techniques. We were done with. So Pranay had this question that if my child is engaged in not so appropriate behavior, like a rude talk, how do I correct his behavior and action?
Most certainly. Most certainly. So have you already answered that question?
I was just in the process of answering, but I can take that answer later maybe. Okay, I think we lost her again. This happens. I think with technology, we get together very faster, but sometimes these could be the downsides of technology too. If at all, we on a lighter note, if we really want to brag about something, the thing that we can brag about is our internet connection. That I have so and so brand 4G internet connection is what we can actually end up bragging now. But okay, Dr. Munira, are you here? Okay, till then, Pranay, we'll get back to your question. The first technique, like I told you, was um, distracting the child from the not appropriate behavior. Then is redirecting the child, saying the action is right, but the object on which you're performing is not right. The third thing that you can do is ignore. Sometimes, ignoring really works because the child is just doing it once or twice, and the child is doing it for your attention. So the moment he realizes that you're giving your attention to the behavior, he'll keep doing it very often, or she'll keep it doing very often just to get your attention. So sometimes ignoring works. But if it happens or continues or repeats very often, you cannot use this disciplining technique of ignoring. And especially if your child is engaged in a dangerous action, like probably touching a knife or touching a hot iron, you obviously cannot ignore this behavior. So ignoring has to be used looking at the situation. We had this child in class who used to spit on other children, and the reason was just to get attention. In that case, once or twice it is okay to ignore the child. The child realizes that the teacher is not giving the attention, and he stops his inappropriate behavior. The fourth thing that you can do for disciplining is explain the child the logical consequence. Now this can work for children above 4 years of age because they actually understand what could happen if I do a certain thing. So you can definitely tell the child that if you're going to behave like this, you won't get this. It has to be as clear as possible to the child that if this behavior persists, this stops. If you continue doing this, then probably you would not be able to see your favorite episode on television, or you will not be able to do your favorite activity. So consequence, natural or logical consequence, usually works with children. And the last thing that you can use is timeout. And the time depends upon the age of the child. So 1-year-old child should be given a time limit of 1 minute, timeout of 1 minute. 4-year-old child can be given a timeout of 4 minutes. Timeout is basically the most boring corner of your house, where you tell the child that you know what, Abir, you need your time to understand and introspect your behavior. Please be there for some time, understand, and then get back to me. And after you take the child back to you, you're not going to sit and tell the child, if you behave like this again, I'm going to put you in that corner. So it's not exactly a punishment. It's just time out for Abir to understand his behavior. So these are the techniques that you can use with your children. Pranay, hope this answers your question. Munira, thank you. We have you back, so you can take it from there. Okay, we have another question, Munira. The question is from Dr. Ishwa. She says that her child is 4 years and she's obsessed with closing the door and windows. And she ends up writing mirror images of the letters. How do I handle it?
Okay, so it's absolutely normal. Don't worry. It's you need to figure out, as I said, that a little bit of history taking is very important. Doctor, is that something which started very recently, or has your child always had an affinity for doors and windows? Yes, because a lot of kids like to see some sort of reaction. So when you close the window, it goes smack, and then you cannot see what's in front of it or something. So which is very, 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 very natural. It's something like object permanence, but in different ways. That's about it. However, you need to figure that if it has just come out of nowhere, then you need to find out why has this behavior started. If there is an obsession, if your child really likes windows and doors, there's nothing wrong with it. It's not really a harmful obsession. You can definitely try speaking to your child that, my love, is that something that you like doing because you love it, or is it something that bothers you? And find out what is the kind of answer that you're giving. Then we can take it a little more. Also, don't worry, mirror images of alphabets while kids are just learning to write their alphabets is very, very normal. I'll just elaborate a little. A lot of times people worry and they think that, oh, is this a delayed milestone, or is this on the lines of autism? Guys, it's generally never that. Most of the times when kids are learning to write new alphabets, they will mirror image like a P and a D. They're very, very normal. Don't worry. Once they are completely fluent and they're very well versed with their alphabets, then that thing should vanish. Don't worry at all. As far as windows and the doors are shutting, the obsession is completely harmless. If the child is there head banging associated with it, or is there banging, or has there been incidences of where the child has hurt themselves, then you need to, dig in a little further. If not, it's just something that, the kids could be obsessed with. Nothing to be worried about. See how we are done for that. Is there any other question that I can take?
Yes, Munira, we have another question from Arush Sharma.
Yes.
How to make children above 5 understand that failure is okay in a game or a play?
Okay, so now this comes only and only through experience. Arush, we get it all the time in kids when I'm playing games with them. As parents, what we do is, to make the kids feel better, we generally let them win, because it's good, it builds that confidence in them. But you cannot let the kids, as the kids are growing older, or even when they're young, sometimes you have to let them lose, and you have to tell them that it's okay. Or next time when you lose a game, you have to be okay with that. When kids see too much competition in and around the house, maybe everybody at home was playing a game and somebody lost it and felt like, no, I didn't win, or you cheated, or somebody did something like that, so that has left a lasting impression of the kid on the child. Or there's a second reason. Maybe nothing like this ever happened. Your child just loves winning because he's never lost. So you need to once in a while have this conversation that it's okay to lose. Next time when your child wins and tells you that, Mama, look at this, or Dada, look at this, I came first in this race, and you'll be like, that's fine, I'm so proud of you. But don't worry, dear child, even if you came last, I'd still love you. You want to tell them, you pacify them by telling them that sometimes failure is okay too. That is so very important. So next time, if your child is a sour loser in the game, you need to normalize that feeling. Tell them that it's okay, everybody loses. You can't win all the time. Dada doesn't win all the time. Mama doesn't win all the time. So what's the problem? Yes. And hopefully, Arush, it's a process. It's not going to happen overnight. The next game that you play or the next activity that you do, your child's not going to take it well. But the more you practice this, patience will come along, and that art, it's okay, to lose, it will come along. Also, try to make your child feel very secure in every other aspect of life. Once the kids start feeling more secure, that failure won't affect them as deeply as it would, because now sometimes the kids start to feel that, oh, when I win something, or when I do something very, very well, or I come first, that's when my parents and family applaud me. You don't want the kids to feel that. You have to change and start making him feel that it's okay, that even if you came second or third, or it's okay, you participated in this thing, it is still fine, we appreciate you just as much. Once you do that, the child's brain subconsciously learns that, yeah, it's absolutely okay. So even if I lose, there's no harm in that, because losing doesn't mean it's a bad thing, isn't it? Losing just means that it's a process of learning, and next time I'm going to beat you, or that mentality will change, that they will say like, I lost this time, Papa, let's play one more, I'm going to win you on the next one. Yes, I hope that helps.
We have another question.
Yes.
From Sumit Dev.
Yes.
What is right brain hyperactivity?
Okay, so now a lot of times parents, I'll tell you a little bit about right brain. So right brain has a lot to do with creativity, kids being very, very free with, their open emotions, being very, kids who are right brain are very, very excited about things. They like to touch and feel very thing, because their senses are very heightened, compared to a child who's very logical, critical, analytical. So these kids can overall, show more enthusiasm, have a lot of curiosity about everything. Why this, why that, why that? So a lot of times this term has come in, that there is right brain hyperactivity, but it's nothing, it's just a curious child. These terms sometimes are put up because they believe, a lot of people out there believe, let me tell you, it's a myth, that if you overstimulate or do any sort of one activity, or you constantly keep doing brain games and all with the child, they get, hyperactive, their behavior starts to change. But it's not true. In fact, it's just the opposite. The more brain activities or things that you do, the kids become more observant, they become sharper. And in any sort of right brain class, or if you're giving right brain education at home, number one thing that you need to take care is EQ, emotional quotient. If you are taking care of your child's emotional quotient, there is no way that hyperactivity is going to come in. It could just, as I said, that find the personality of your child. If your child is a very bubbly child overall, then yes, that could be your nature of your child, and it has very little to do with right brain or left brain or any stimulation that you're giving. Or there's one more reason, a very crucial root reason that your child could be hyperactive is because it has a lot to do with the nutrition. Is this food laden a lot with refined sugar or things like that, sugary drinks, things like fruit juices, which we may feel are very healthy, but are actually nothing and nothing but, a load of empty calories and refined sugar. I mean the fruit juices that are bought store bought, things like that. So hyperactivity as a term has very little to do with a right brain or a left brain, but a lot to do with the child itself. And why they're hyperactive, there are reasons that you can find out. It rarely has to do anything with the activities or things that you could be doing as a parent, like teachings. I hope that helps.
Yeah, that helps, Dr. Munira. We don't have any questions as of now. So if you want to continue for another 5-10 minutes, we can do that.
I'd love that. Okay, so now coming on, everybody's interested that what are the things that you can start teaching your youngest babies. So let's start with what are these things that you can start. The first thing that you can start for your baby is musical appreciation. And I mean that from since the time your child is born. You know it. If your kids are anything like toddlers and kindergartners, you know that kids love music. It's peppy, it's fun, they learn through it. We all know that. But guys, I want you to do more of it. Of course we do our rhymes and things like that, we hear some Bollywood songs, but inculcate different kinds of music. I want you to add Indian classical music, Western classical music, add your regional folk music, maybe add something in a different language. All different kinds of music are helping your child understand beats, rhythms much better. It has it has a plethora of benefits when it comes to your brain. Yes, your brain remains very active, very focused, very vibrant. It's also said that when you're starting to learn how to play a musical instrument, that's when both parts of your brains are working very, very well. And any activity which activates both sides of your brain is good for your brain, because you're trying to raise a holistic child. So music is very, very crucial. Till now we only do like a little bit of rhymes and whatever comes on those YouTube apps, or a little bit of what we know. But guys, please go ahead, make your kids listen to some classical music. And by that I don't mean that, oh, make your child sit in front and say that, okay, now we're listening to classical music. That's not what I mean. Let your kids play or do whatever they want in the background, just always have some music playing. Yeah, they are picking that up, and then sooner or later they'll start to recognize the difference. That, Ma, I think that's the violin which is playing, or Mom, I think that's the sitar, or could that be the piano? Is that Beethoven's symphony? The kids get so good and observant and listening, their audio senses are going to become so keen because you did it very early on in life. So start with musical appreciation. Very, very important. The second very good thing you can do for the brain is to make your child learn multiple languages. Now, what do I mean by this? Let me start that we as Indians are very, very blessed in the way that all our families, we always know 2 or 3 languages. English, because of course we all went to school. Second is a Hindi, it's our Rashtra Bhasha. Third could be a Marathi, because we live in Maharashtra. Then fourth is a dialect, like I know how to speak Arabic because I'm Muslim. The same with parents, Marwari, Bhatia, so Gujarati, so on and so forth. We are so blessed to know all these languages. Now, there were a lot of studies which were done on the brain of somebody who is unilingual and somebody who is multilingual. They found out that the brains of multilingual people were very radiant. They found out that they had better problem solving skills. They found out that our brains, because we are multilingual, will remain much younger than somebody else who just knows one language. So basically, our rates of cognitive decline, our rate of remembering things, getting something like Alzheimer's or age-related dementia are much lower than a person who is, unilingual. So it has multiple benefits. And then a lot of times the parents ask me, but how do we teach the languages, or won't we get confused? Let's start with my first most basic question. Everybody's like, won't my child get confused if I'm exposing them to too many languages? Or they're like, we only want our child to speak in English because we want them to get into good schools. Guys, getting into a good school is good and all, but that's not about it. Of course that they are going to speak. Let me tell you something about the brain. your child's brain is so very intelligent. There's something called as a critical period for language. Stay with me, I know it's a little technical, but stay with me. Critical period of language is like basically a graph which says that up till 1 year of age, the language centers of the brain are so high. Yes, they're so very good, they're so smart, they can pick up to 7 to 8 languages. And after the age group of say 3, that graph really starts to go down. So kids find learning languages very, very easy. So no, they're not getting confused. If we do it in a proper way, like mom and dad are speaking only English to the baby, dadu dadi are speaking Gujarati, driver saab is speaking in Marathi, nanu nani are speaking in Kutchi, the child is going to pick everything up. If you're privileged enough and you want to do a foreign language with your child, you will ask me, but miss, which foreign language should I do? Like a Mandarin or something is really hard, isn't it? No, it's hard for you and me to learn these languages right now, but not for the babies. A child in China is going to pick up Mandarin very easily. Does a child say it's hard? No, it has a lot to do with when you were exposed to that language. So if you want your child to learn any XYZ language, now is the time. The younger your baby, the better it is. And when we learn a new language, somebody, if they just start talking to me in Mandarin, I'm going to look at them like, what? I can't understand you. But that's the beauty when it comes to the kids. If you want to teach them something, all you have to do is talk in that language. Kids are very easily going to pick that up. I'm sure you noticed that when our babies were very, very young, we didn't really teach them things like, hey, look at that, that's my earring, did you see my earring? We call that a earring. We don't teach kids like that. All we are talking is, hey, I like this earring a lot, I think I'm going to wear this earring. Then the child hears somebody asking, hey, did you like my earrings? Or that somebody else, Kaki, is asking us, wow, I like your earrings, where did you get them from? So the child is such a linguistic genius that he's made the connection that yes, this has to be it, this has to be a earring. The child has made that connection. Their brain is so sharp to do it, and that's why they pick up languages very, very quickly. They're so good at picking up languages. That is why in our curriculum, even at Pickle Right, we do over 7 foreign languages with them. You can only imagine. They can pick up even more. If you are blessed and 5 different languages are spoken at home, please speak all different 5 languages. Your kids are not getting confused. You are giving them multiple brain benefits. Your child has going to have a very radiant personality, everything. So please do that. Yes, languages are good, they're your best friends. No, not causing confusion. No, you should not start them later, you should start them as soon as possible. That is when the kids are going to become fluent. How do we teach them new languages? Very easy, just speak to them in that language. Go play with them in that language. You want your child to learn Kutchi? Just go and play with your child in Kutchi. Go sing songs, dance along, cook while you're cooking, give all your instructions in Kutchi. And before you know it, before your child turns 2 or 3, your child will be fluently speaking that particular language. Okay, so let's move on to the next one. Oh, okay.
Dr. Munira, we just have 2 minutes left.
Okay.
One last thing that you want to tell them that
Yes.
parents can
Yes,
do.
I'll take on to the last one. The last one, it's not any particular activity. I want you guys to support curiosity. Yes, by curiosity, what do I mean? I mean that a lot of times, anything that our kids do, our natural reaction is to tell them no. Like imagine your child gets all these plates and goes like smack and bangs all the plates and has broken all the plates. And you're like, Jesus, what did you do? No, that's not good. But guys, do you realize that could be an excellent experiment on gravity? Or if your child brings all the pots and pans from the kitchen and starts smacking them with the spoons and forks and all this noise, and you're like, oh god, that's a chaos. But did you think that could be an excellent experiment on acoustics, isn't it? So next time your child is doing something curious, I want you to guide them into an activity and make it into like a fun thing that, oh, you were banging this. Why did you bang this? Did you like the sound? Where did the sound come from? What happened? Oh, this sound is different from this sound. Can you tell me why? And create it into an experiment. Kids are very curious as of, by nature, but it is we who are always and always narrowing down the curiosity. Creativity is a big part of the kids' life, at least when they're very, very young. Please don't take it away from them. Tomorrow, if your child is drawing a tree, and they draw a pink tree, what's our reaction? Most of the times, like, that's not a tree. A tree has to be green and brown. But guys, what color is the cherry blossom? It's pink, isn't it? Yes. So nothing is ever right or wrong. And that's exactly my whole motto at Tickle Right. We encourage creativity. Anything that the kids say, we say that, yes, you can do it. I want you to start using these theme tactics and saying that yes, you can. If they do something naughty, turn it into some new sort of learning. I hope that helps. And that's it from me, Sneha. If you have any questions or anything at all, we are ready to take.
Thank you so much. The session was so resourceful that we have a couple of parents who have asked us to take this session again, and they want to be part of this session so that you can give them more tips on what they can do with children.
I'd love to.
So we'll get back to you about the same, but all the tips were so resourceful, and so we can easily implement them in the coming days.
Please do so.
And it has given us so much of clarity on why we need to introduce more languages, and I think parents are more clearer on what is left brain, what is right brain, and what kind of activities would actually keep the balance between both brains. Thank you so much for such a wonderful session, Dr. Munira. It was
Thank
pleasure having you.
Yeah,
For the
you guys were a fabulous audience. All the questions were so well thought and they were, so direct to the point. I really had fun and I'm looking forward to doing some more sessions with you guys. Lots of love. Bye, guys.
Thank you so much, parents, for being part of this session. Wish you a wonderful evening. Thank you.
Thank you.